the 7 tasks an HR manager does, which do you think is the most challenging and why? We believe that retention is the most challenging among the tasks of an HR manager since HRM is all about people, thus an organization would not exist without it. Therefore, people is the most important factor in running a business or in an organization. So, bakit nga ba nasabing retention is the most challenging among the tasks of an HR manager? Siyempre, sino nga ba naman maniniwala na pleasing people is easy as pie or a piece of cake? Siyempre, hindi, diba? As an HR manager, you must think of ways on pleasing people or persuading your employee in retaining the company. Siyempre, a part of it is compensating them properly, giving them the incentives and benefits they deserve, and creating the best environment that they would not think of leaving the company. Should we bother retaining the so-called best employees in the company when we can hire or employ new ones? It is because retention promotes the health and success of the organization. And if we keep on employing someone in behalf of their position, it will cause us stress, time, and of course money as we needed to train and develop their skills as newly employed employees. And of course, we will also process their SSS and feel health. Therefore, retention must be done to avoid all of the things I've said a while ago. And if we keep on retaining people, there will be less cost in hiring another one. Thus, it will lead to increasing the revenue of the organization or company.
For number 2 question, think of your current skills. Are there personal or professional skills you would like to work on? As marketing students who are likely to be working in an organization in the future, each and everyone in this group want to work on their critical thinking skills because it is one of the most highly sought after skills in a workplace. Aside from that, critical thinking skill allows not only us but every person to analyze information, arrive at conclusion, and make sound decisions. Therefore, applying critical thinking in the workplace is an essential skill that everyone should be trying to improve. We know that it can set us apart as leaders in the future. It will also improve the quality of our work and the perception those higher up chain have of us.
Number 3 question. What are your perceptions of what an HR manager does on a day-to-day basis? So research this job title and describe your findings. You might wonder what an HR manager does on a day-to-day basis. But before that, an HR manager lead and direct the routine functions of the Human Resources Department, from hiring, interviewing, to enforcing company policies and practices. So here are the day-to-day routine of an HR manager. First is addressing and dealing with a variety of issues. There are conflicts that must be resolved, problems that are likely to arise within the company, and that HR must analyze and thoroughly assess in order to keep the organization compliant with the company needs and concerns in determining the best course of action in difficult situations. Second, handling the recruitment process. HR managers oversee the organization's hiring procedure. It is about selecting the best candidates for the organization. They are also in charge sa mga company hiring policies na nakakapag-encourage in employees diversity and identify the strategies para mahanap yung mga candidates that will fit in the company culture. Third, ensuring that employees receive appropriate training program. Yung pag-maintain ng training and development programs for new hires as well as sa mga existing employees who may need to be updated on new procedures and acquire new skills is a part of HR managers' duties or routine. Sa pamamagitan nito, na-assure ng HR managers that the employees are in good condition at nagagawa ng tama ang kanilang trabaho. And fourth, they are in charge of talent management. HR managers guarantees that the employees have everything they need to excel their roles, including materials, resources, and other resources requirements for performing and participating in their job. And fifth, enforcing disciplinary measures. The HR managers are responsible for ensuring that any disciplinary actions within their organizations are fair. They do an investigation that ensures the valid cause committed by the employees during the course of their employment for termination or the disciplinary action in accordance with the company policy. 6. collaborating with the payroll department, the HR managers needs to ensure that the majority of the payroll items such as the pay change, salary, bonuses, employee working hours, and benefit deductions are accurate and complete. And last, 7. Maintaining employees' files and records. This is a majority responsibility of an HR manager to regularly maintain and keep the records updated and should be stored in a secure location and be strictly confidential.
Or research the various generation, which are baby boomers, Generation X, and the Y generation or millennials. Compare and contrast 5 differences between the generations and how might these differences impact HRM. First is baby boomers. This group was born between 1946 and 1964. They are considered very competitive and have the sentiment that workers should pay their dues before their success is achieved. Some of their characteristics as compared to other generations that will be discussed are hardworking, goal-oriented. Next one is loyal, works best in teamwork, and they are very committed. These values affected HRM for the past years that they have served the company or the economy. They set the bar for the coming generations to work well and innovate their line of work. And the second one is Generation X. This group of individuals consists of people or individuals born on 1962 and 1978. These workers aren't shy to talk about their work race or salary raise, and their primary motivation is a good paycheck and benefits. Their characteristics that differs from different generations are that they are very direct, ethical, transparent, adaptable, and self-reliant. This generation tends to be flexible, and they want to change the rules and make the move when they see possible changes as opportunity arises. And Generation X works well under pressure and submit to deadlines. Lastly, the millennials or Gen Y. They are the second youngest of all generations that exist now, aside from the Gen Zs, and they are born from 1980 to 1994. Millennials view the work that they do as a personal expression and have a desire to understand how their efforts will fit within the big picture of the company. They hold a global perspective and easily accept diversity. And their characteristics are optimistic, adaptive, innovative, fast, and they are opportunity grabbers. This generation were able to adapt well to technological introduction to workplaces. They made use of their resources like computers and internet to pioneer technological business approach. This made their line of work easier, better, and faster. That's why they are the ones who first encountered internet and computer, and they incorporate it well to business-related activities.
Of the areas focused in HRM, which do you think is the most important? Rank them and discuss the reason for your rankings. According to Ulrich model, there are 4 areas focused in HRM. First, strategic partner. Second, change agent. Third, administrative and functional expert. And lastly, employee champion. Our rank 1 is employee champion. Employees are the company's most valuable asset in achieving its goal. Yung expertise nila is the primary fuel na nagpapatakbo ng organization. So napakahalaga na i-value natin ang bawat isa sa kanila in an appropriate manner. HRM obligation is crucial considering that they need to conduct an evaluation and assessment sa mga factors na maaari makaapekto sa employees' engagement in the workplace. Their involvement ensures that they have voice that feels heard and respected. This is beneficial for retention and the most important area focused on HRM. Administrative expert and functional expert is rank 2. Itong area naman ito is rank 2 because it focuses on the internal operational processes of an organization. katulad ng helping employers to make sense of often ambiguous employment compliance issues related to worker safety, medical privacy, disabilities, accommodation, and leave. Administrative expert ay kailangan lalo na ngayon mabilis ang pagbabago ng regulatory environment. Their roles are difficult since they need to keep in touch with the record to be able to understand and implement policies dahil ang efficiency of these processes ay maaari makaapekto sa business. Their contribution is to ensure that efficient delivery of HR services to other members of the management team, typically through the use of information and communication technology. Our round 3 is change agent. The importance of a change agent differ on the company's overall culture. So, ito yung round 3 namin. They need to connect with managers and facilitate kung paano ang organization ay magiging maayos in different perspective. They help an organization or part of an organization transform how it operates by inspiring and influencing others. A change agent will promote, champion, enable, and support an organization change implementation. The majority of the group rank strategic partner as 4, and we conclude that this role ay importante para sa reviewing system and processes in delivering customer needs and wants. Thus, it is focused on efficient procedure for its own benefit. Tumutulong sila with the development and growth of the organization by communicating HR initiatives to primarily support the overall strategy.
Of the parts of HR planning, which do you think is the most difficult and why? We think the hardest part of HR planning is the selection of employees because we believe that the future of the company relies on the workforce because they are the ones who are involved in providing the goods and services that the company offers. That's why yung selection of employees is a big responsibility and we must make sure na the people we are going to hire are reliable and are professional workers. Which part of HR planning would you enjoy the most and why? We think the most enjoyable part of HR planning is the training and development part where the skills of the workers are being enhanced. We like this part because these educational activities will help boost not only their efficiency but also their personalities.
Point out which changes are occurring in the business that affect HRM. In order to facilitate changes in the organization, human resources act as a liaison between the top management and the workforce. The majority of organizational changes have significant impact on human resources in a variety of ways. One of the numerous factors that affect organizational change is external environment, which may have an impact on how well the organization functions. As a result, management should keep an eye on these external influences so that they may prepare solutions in advance to deal with potential changes. In the example mentioned, the economy is one of the external factors that might have an impact to the company. The management must effectively monitor the economy and have the skills to react on it. The organization's decision-making about HRM, including hiring, benefits and compensation, training and development, downsizing, employee contracts, and money spent on business expansions may be impacted by the changing of the economic climate. The business described in the case it has anticipated a 10% increase in income, which indicates the business will pick up and have more staff that may be required to meet the client and customer demands. However, the company also anticipates changes in workplace diversity and the company expects 5 out of every 10 employees to retire, and the employees that will go are the younger ones. To be able to replace the old workers, those who have the necessary skills, HR management must therefore prepare retirement plans for those who will depart as well as training programs for those young employees who will be retained.
Number 2. What are some considerations the company and HR should be aware of when making changes related to this case study? So, we have 7 considerations before making some changes in the organization. Number 1. Company's goals. The management must assess whether the changes to implement will help the organization achieve its goals. So, syempre, hindi tayo basta-basta nagpapalit ng kung anong meron sa organization na alam natin na hindi naman makakatulong para ma-achieve yung goal nito. Number 2, the applicable labor law of the location to the state. The HR management must ensure that they are complying with the law and regulations and does not deprive the rights of the employees. Alam naman natin na mahalaga ang karapatang pantao ng bawat isa, kahit pa sa isang organization, kaya dapat yung mga HR management ay sinisigurado nila na hindi makaka-apekto sa human rights ng employee yung i-implement nilang changes. Number 3, the risks associated with telecommunicating. The management must be aware of the issues and challenges that may arise from the setup, such as internet connections and the materials and equipment needed. Number 4, communicate with the employees. The management must clearly communicate with the changes that are about to happen to avoid the conflicts and, of course, to prepare the employees. Number 5, motivating human resources. Due to the expected retirements that will happen, the management must have programs that could attract, satisfy, and motivate employees to attain the goals of the organization and to prevent a high rate of employee turnover. Number 6, employees' healthcare benefits. The management must reconsider the removal of healthcare insurance because of the health risks that are present nowadays. Having health insurance as one of the employee benefits is ideal for organizations during the present time. And lastly, the timetable for implementing change. The management must create a timeline on how they will implement the change. In the case given, the changes must not be implemented all of a sudden but slowly as possible to give time for communication and prepare the necessary things to avoid any issues along the way.
Number 3 question. What would be the initial steps to start planning for these changes? To begin planning for the changes that will be implemented, it is important for the company to take the initial steps to manage the change process, which also ensures control. These steps include: number 1, concentrate on the organization's specific needs and challenges. Number 2, set the goals and initiatives for the issues addressed for the changes. Number 3, analyze and identify the organization's current state in preparation for the changes. Number 4, develop strategies and alternatives for both internal and external change development. Number 5, assess and prepare all the potential costs and adjustments associated with the needs of both the company and the employees. And last, number 6, create a schedule to discuss the implementation of the changes to the owner and to the employees. Number 4 question. What would be my role in implementing these changes, and what would Jennifer's role be? My roles in implementing the changes: number 1, to develop the policies to reflect the changes that will be implemented. Number 2, to update the records and files of the employees. Number 3, to create an adequate employee training program to acquire new skills for them to adapt the change. Number 4, observe and ask employees to get their thoughts on how the change is going to affect them. Number 5, facilitate the entire company if the changes that will be implemented are met by both the owner and the employees. So for Jennifer's roles in implementing the changes: number 1, show support and commitment to the overall process involved in implementing the changes. Number 2, be an effective owner that validates changes affecting the company. Number 3, communicate with the employees regarding the objectives of the change. Number 4, build a sense of importance and urgency about the change. And number 5, accept risks and take them while executing the changes that could have an impact on the company.
As an HR manager, the scope of my application is not merely to hire people for the company. Kailangan niya rin involve ang kanyang sarili in different circumstances, like issues that may possibly affect the employees who contributed significantly to attaining the goals. It is part of my job to ensure that fair employee compensation is being applied. Ang pag-maintain ng effective compensation management system is beneficial hindi lang para sa employees but also for the company. In this situation, I cannot simply turn a blind eye. I have to be a good role model to my co-employees. I would consult the remaining manager and have one-on-one meeting to address my concern regarding the disparity in the amount of money given to the two employees. Once we both agreed on our talk, then that will be the only time action must be taken. With this, we'll conduct an observation to assess the level of their performance. And the result ang magbibigay sa amin ng concrete data to come up with the conclusion. This strategic show fairness to both employees. So sila ay hired by different managers. As a result, workplace conflict will be reduced because kapag ang employee ay satisfied sa kanyang salary, they are more likely to perform well.